Okay, I'm gonna be like everybody else and I'm gonna record my videos and then upload, because I feel like there's manipulation on my channel, and I know there's manipulation on a lot of different channels, but I'm gonna just do my uploads like this. This is how everybody else does theirs anyways, so it is what it is. Okay, so I had started this on live, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about what I want to talk about, which is the spiritual portion of my journey. The notes that I have here in regards to this is Tomb Raider, spiritual inheritance, business, and seesaw spell. I'm gonna start on the seesaw spell first. I'm calling it a seesaw spell. I don't know what the technical term for it is. No idea. I've said many times I don't do spell work. I don't think I need it, because I ask God for what I want, and if God wants me to have it, I have it, and then if I'm not supposed to have it, I don't have it. And that's good enough for me, to be honest with you, because I always feel like you don't want everything. You shouldn't get everything that you ask for. Sometimes I look at spell work as very manipulative. I look at it as people taking power into their hands to do things and putting themselves in places that they shouldn't be, and then you always pay for it. You never get away with it. I don't see people who do spell work that are millionaires, billionaires, happy, great family, living a great life. I see them as people who start off on this journey and just kind of have to deal with a bunch of stuff, and they know what they did and they know why they're going through things that they're going through. And that is no different from the people that we're dealing with right now. So when I talk about this seesaw spell thing, essentially think of it like being on a seesaw. And when you're up, somebody else is down. And when somebody else is down, you're up. It's kind of like being on the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm going to get my cards and see if I can pull the Wheel of Fortune card out and kind of explain what that looks like. So essentially what happens to you is they put you in this situation where if they want to steal your inheritance from you, they want to steal from you, they put you in a situation where, first of all, you have to be really close to them, either they can directly control you, or they put you in a situation, here it is, or they put you in a situation where if they can't directly control you, then they have somebody around you and they control that person. And so they put you in through a series of abuses. And essentially what happens is, as they abuse you and your feelings go down, then they're feeling good and they're up. So in the beginning, it was funny and people were putting me down and I was under stress. And this is the Wheel of Fortune right here. So when it's upright like this, you're on top of the wheel. And when it's upside down like this, you're at the bottom of the wheel. This is bad luck. So you can see this is, so when it's upright, what did I put here? Divine timing, good luck, and fate. And then when it's upside down, it's like bad luck and a turn for the worst. So when you're having a turn for the worst, it's like somebody else is having things go right for them. And I'm just gonna like shuffle cards as I talk, because I don't know why I always do that. It's like I'm so busy all the time, so it's like two birds with one stone. Anyway, so they wanted to put me in a situation where, well, they did put me in a situation where I was in one of these kind of spells, essentially. And when they were up, when he was up, I was down. And so what happened was I had to learn to heal myself to get on the upside of the wheel. And that meant from finding antidotes for spell work to clean things off, because different types of work was being presented to me. Some of it, the antidote was just like literally just hard work and willpower. Some of it was just not having toxic behaviors, because you need toxic behaviors for a bunch of this stuff to work. So if somebody wanted me to be a drug addict or to have an STD, if I'm celibate, it's not possible. I'm not going to get an STD. It's impossible to have. If I don't drink or I don't smoke or I don't do drugs, then I can't be addicted to anything because I don't have that habit. So they kind of needed a bad habit to attach to my behavior in order for me to find myself in the situations that they wanted me to find myself in. On top of that, it's like things like, for example, having conflict with others. If I'm not a confrontational person, then it's impossible for me to have confrontation with other people, no matter what kind of energy those people come to me with. So those were the kind of things that were happening. And obviously the place that we're in now, none of it worked. Absolutely none of it worked. I have never been sick. I've never gotten a cold, but I was able to tell the energy that was being thrown at me just by what was coming my way. What was happening to him and to others. So let me tell you, I've had situations where I have seen people who, are very, very, very sick, like developed symptoms, developed illnesses where they can't even speak properly, where they have half their face paralyzed, and they're still doing evil things. Like there's the dealership that I was working with, even the dealership was trying to get me to like take my business online before it's time. And the thing is, these people read into, I guess you can say they read into my future, and they figured, oh, I'm gonna be very wealthy, I'm gonna be very rich, whatever it is that they wanted so badly. They read into that energy, and so that's why they were so obsessed with me. So it was, the drug muling really was just a way to get rid of me and get me out of my life's purpose and my life's calling. So basically what they wanted to do is they wanted me to actualize my blessing before it's time, so that they can steal it and be in control of it. And then I would be stuck in the cartel, and I wouldn't be able to actualize my dreams because I would be under the control of this organization, and then they could run off and they could basically get my wealth. The problem is, and this was the reading that I was watching before I came on here, is that this is something I knew, I've seen it. I've seen this guy's energy where whatever it is he strapped onto his back is basically the one like controlling the show. And it's crazy because I just thought it was overpowering him, because there was a time he was struggling to regain his power from this thing. And I remember even watching another reading that basically said, the girl said, she said, somebody went back to someone they paid for work, and they realized that they sold their soul for way too cheap. And I definitely believe that is him, and that's the situation with him. I definitely feel like he realized, like, for what he sold, and at first I thought it was just like a metaphor for the fact that he made this arrangement with the cartel, because they said that basically he started like eliciting help from all these different organizations, but he ended up like making an agreement. But I don't know, it's so many different stories, and sometimes it's like I don't care to keep up with it, because I'm like, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? But there was something about essentially like him making some sort of agreement, him basically being in a situation where he went to get some sort of work done, and what they did was they strapped this entity to him, and he's the one who did it, and other people didn't want to do it. And it's like a real entity. It's not just a representation of the cartel. It's like a real entity that he strapped onto his back. And this entity basically took over. And there was a point in time where I felt like he was trying to regain his control from the entity, and it wasn't working. He was trying not to do certain things because he realized what had happened, that he had been trapped. But I knew he had been trapped from the time the contract had been taken back, where he was being referred to as my ex, and it wasn't current. And he was keeping all of this stuff secret. I think if the rest of the group knew that he had lost that contract, maybe they would have done things differently. I don't know if they could have at that point. But when spirit comes to take a contract back, it's like, it's too late. Like, it's like people have stepped in it. I don't know if people know that they've stepped into it. I mean, I don't know if maybe now they're figuring out that this is really not the kind of work that you can like reverse back out of. This stuff is beyond these people. It's beyond what these people can manage. Like, this is out of control. But I remember there was one time that I was saying he speaks to himself like entirely, like he has a whole it's like the entity speaks to itself and answers back. I don't know, I can't explain it, but I heard it for myself. I heard him speaking to himself. It's really bad. It's actually scary. When I tapped into that energy, I panicked, and I was like, and I didn't want to, it just happened. Because people, you know, these people constantly try to be in my energy, and when I accidentally fell into it, it's kind of like somebody coming into your home. It's like they're there, so you see them, right? It's very, when I say it's terrifying circumstances that he's in, and the reason I don't really worry about, because what we see on the surface, when we see people walking around, we don't know what else these people are going through. Like, you don't know what's happening to people spiritually. You don't know spiritually who people are. You don't know what's happening to them. But essentially the reader was saying, I remember there was one point where they were saying, and this was months ago, that he was fighting for his own vessel. He was fighting for his own mind. And now I guess it's at the point where his mind is gone. And everything that he wished for me is essentially happening to him. So I know one of the things that he wanted for me was for me to be dominated and abused in a relationship. And that's what's happening to him in his relationship with the cartel. He cannot stop doing what he's doing because he is being abused. And the kind of psychotic behavior that he is known for is the kind of psychotic behavior that he is being subjected to now. These are people that don't understand, I can't get it done. It is not possible to get done. None of the above. It's like they want it and they want it now type of thing. And they don't really care about whether it's working or not. So it is a very crazy situation. He's lost control of the situation because they have no access to me or my energy whatsoever. And I've always known that. I've always known that it was a situation where he would not be able to use anybody's energy. And so if he didn't have my energy, then he 100% would have been depleted. As far as what's happened to me spiritually in this relationship, it's definitely been a situation where people have tried to keep us apart by any means necessary. And obviously you got to be dealing with certain types of people for you to really feel like you need to, by any means necessary, get this contract done. It's very, I don't even know what to call it. It's a very scary situation is all I'll say. It's a very scary situation. I wouldn't really want to be in it. But I want, if you're listening to this, it's not just about telling my spiritual story. I want to just put it out there. You have no idea. Sorry, more than one card has fallen here. You have no idea what's going on in your situation spiritually. They're not able to just attack you like this and you never get away and police never help you and all of this stuff happen. This is not just happening because it's happening. Like, this is happening because people have put a lot of work on you spiritually. And this is not an easy thing to come out of. And this is not something that you have the people putting the work on you probably don't even have the ability to really deal with this. You know, there's also, and I believe this one as well, I don't think they can actually pay the practitioners because everything is reversing back. People are getting all kinds of illnesses that you would not think that people would get, you know, terminal things. So this is a very This is a chaotic situation. It's very scary in my particular situation. And that's why I don't really worry about it too much. And I let God do what God's going to do, because, you know, I wouldn't know where to begin in curing stuff like that myself. These people have been doing this obviously for a very long time, and God knows what she's doing. And I'm just here to just be here to talk about what I've seen, to talk about what I've gone through, how I've gone through it, to give people hope and faith that you are going to get through your situation. But if you give up, then you're basically giving your position away. If you give up, that is the only way that they can get you, is if you give up, if you give yourself away, if you go back to them, if you get in contact with them. The only way through some situations is just through. No matter how hard it is, it's like you just have to hold on as tight as you can for as long as you can. And that's all that you can do. That is the only way through. And it is what it is. That is the only way through. Now, on top of that, let me go down my list of things that I have to talk about. 16 minutes. The seesaw spell. This I wanted to mention. It is very important that you keep your wits about you and you find a way to heal emotionally. Healing emotionally, breathing correctly, healing your nervous system, resetting yourself, finding your peace. It's not just something you're doing to do. It's something you're doing because you have to do it. You absolutely have to do it, because the longer you stay in stress is the more that bad things happen to you. The longer you stay in a stressful situation is the longer bad things keep happening to you. And as you come out of that stressful situation, then the people who've done work on you, they enter the stressful situation. So you have to be sure. Sorry, a lot of smoke in here. You have to be sure that you continue to keep yourself in very high spirits, take time for yourself, and don't stress out about things. You don't need to rush anything. This process has taught me so much. Like, for example, people were really rushing me to have my business go online and get out of the malls. And it wasn't the right time to do that. And God made sure that I stayed in there for as long as I needed to, because there are things that I needed to learn from those experiences. So I'm at the point that I don't stress with certain things and I don't force certain things, and I'm trying to get my rest, and it is what it is. I can't force the process. You know, they try to find the means by which, you know, the ways, the people that you communicate with, or not even communicate with, because tarot readers don't really, you know, communicate with people or have exchanges with people. But, you know, if I make a comment on a tarot page, that's where they'll want to access me or access my energy. And then they realize, like, oh, because I was hacked, probably still am on this phone, because I notice people leave my lives. And I think they do it on purpose. They just join the live and leave the live very quickly to kind of give YouTube the impression that, oh, nobody wants to watch this, right? So these are the ways in which they manipulate the algorithm away from you to take away your engagement. It's like that kind of obsessed, deranged behavior, just hanging on to an issue for far too long. But because I understand the situation, I understand why this person's holding on for dear life, because this person's literally fighting for their life, spiritually, physically, in like all facets, right? But it's a situation where if you do not keep yourself emotionally well, if you don't keep yourself in happy spirits, if you don't keep yourself calm, the calmer you get and the more you heal from the emotional turmoil of being gang stalked, it puts the gang stalkers in the same situation. So when I started to be happy, when I started to be healthy, when I started to heal, when I started to breathe properly, when I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, when I started to there was no fear in me and take back my control, when all of those things started happening, then it plunged them in the same situation. Now they're in fear. Now they don't have control. Now they're terrified. Now that I'm exposing them, it's like I had to wait for certain cycles to be closed in order for people to start believing me again, for people to take me seriously, for people, but also too, there needed to be a certain amount of behavior, and that behavior has already happened. There was a whole bunch of behavior that no one can deny. No one can deny the fact that people have slandered me nonstop. No one can deny that. So this is a situation that we're in currently for myself. And that's why I don't spend too much time talking about people following me or people hacking me or any of the above. It doesn't really matter to me, only because I already know where things are going. I know how they have to go there. I can see what's happening. I can see that there are certain steps that need to happen first before other things happen. And so for me, I'm less likely to see something as a failure that maybe another person would see as a failure. And because that person would see it as a failure or stagnation or lack of progress, in their heart, they would think, oh, I've won. But I remain calm in everything because I'm just here. Listen, this is something that I have to say. And this is something I learned before all this gang stalking stuff happened. Life is a journey, and you would do better to just go along with the stream and just go downstream with it than for you to fight the currents and be going upstream. Let God manage the way things are happening in your life. Patience is key. And once you know there's a higher power in favor working with you, don't fight it. Just like let it be. There is a process to everything going on. And even for the things that you lose, there's so many times that I've lost things in my past only to regain everything back, but way more. And not regain everything back. So it's not like I lost a job and I got the job back, or I lost the job and got a better job. I lost a job and I had to start a business. And there was a period of stagnancy, a period where I wasn't even making remotely close to what I was used to making, but things just started going so well for me when the ball did start rolling. And I realized, like, I prefer to be here. This is where I prefer to be. This is the life that I would prefer to live. And so I just trust God. And I have no idea what's coming, and I don't need to know. And that's part of the ride. That's part of the journey. That is part of just accepting that you came here to learn. And that's all I've been doing is learning. And I've learned so much that I've just come to the point where I'm just like, I really have no idea what's going on in life. Like, just in the course of everything, all the things that have these people have done, I'm thinking to myself, like, I didn't even know you could do things like that. I didn't even know you could do some of the things that these people have done. This is surprising stuff to me. This is crazy. But you know what? I have come to the point with everything that's happened. Like, I've been worried. I've been panicked. The only thing that God, that you'll ever see your ancestors, God and everything be tense about is when you're not listening and you're making mistakes and you're going the wrong way, because you have free will and they cannot override your will. And that is why it's very important to give God control, especially when you are not sure of what the next steps are and what you're supposed to do. You have to give God control. There's something that I wanted to read, and I was going to read it later on in what I'm doing, but I'm going to read it now because hold on. This ties into just what I'm saying. So this song, I found it last night, and the lyrics just spoke to me. And it's so funny because the song kept coming up a bunch of times in my playlist and I never looked at it. And again, it's by Yolanda Adams. I am absolutely in love with this lady, Yolanda Adams, because I just think she's blessed. I think she's an angel. But anyways, here's the lyrics, okay? I say a prayer every night. Whatever I do, I'll get it right. With no regret, no guilt or shame this time. Once I surrender, I won't dare look back, because if I do, I'll get off track. Move ahead in faith and patiently await your answer. What will it be? Sight beyond what I see, you know what's best for me. Prepare my mind, prepare my heart. For whatever comes, I'm gonna be ready. Strength to pass any test. I feel like I'm so blessed. With you in control, I can't go wrong, 'cause I always know I'm gonna be ready. I was free to do whatever I wanted to, lost everything, but I still had you. You showed me your grace. Now my life's renewed and I thank you. So I'll tell anyone who listen, I'll testify about how good you were to me when so-called friends passed me by. The fact that you would show somebody so broke down so much mercy. And the last verse goes, so use me as you will, I'll pay the price, cause I'll pay the price, cause you made the ultimate sacrifice. It's all because of you that I even have life, and I'll give my love as a tribute to how great you are. I think, like, I was singing this song last night, and it was like, for me, it's like those were the exact words that I felt. And I always seem to keep finding either songs that I'm expressing, that the lyrics are expressing what I'm feeling. And this is how I feel as far as like with my relationship with God and with what's going on in my life. I just surrender it. I surrender to whatever this process is, however it has to go. You know, this is not a situation that I'm the one who needs to make actions to initiate how it goes. This is a situation that God has control over. God is the one that is guiding this situation. But excuse me, I'm being guided in such a way where I'm learning from everything. Even if it's not my mistake to make, I'm learning what happens when you do certain things and when you have certain intentions, how you get yourself caught up. And you might think you're smart, but here now you get stuck. And you may have always gotten away with it, but there's always a price to pay for your actions. And it really is important with the way you treat people and the things that you do in this life. And, you know, some of the readers have said, well, had they stopped at a certain point, they would have been gotten away with it. And I know that not to be true. I know that from the moment that they met me, they were already going to be binded to that situation and they were not getting out, and time was just up. They find themselves in this situation because time is up. And people keep, and I think one of the biggest reasons that he doesn't want me to make content, obviously, is because he doesn't want people to understand what they're stuck in and what's going on. But I also think that all of the things that they're focusing on right now, following me or trying to stop me in the path of my business or hacking me, or I think all of those things are on divine timing. I think it's right on time and it's happening just the way that it should. I think it's not gonna stop until God wants it to stop. And that's the truth. Because I have seen every single way, and I think they are probably, somebody in there must be backtracking right now and thinking to themselves, we're really helping this girl. Like, nothing's working on our end. Nothing's happening to her. But they can't stop. They can't. It's not a situation where they can just pick up and move on. I think they're exhausted. I can understand how exhausted they probably are. To be going at this pace for so long, it's too much. I'm just witnessing it. Sorry, I'm just witnessing it and I'm exhausted. I can only imagine for being in that space and constantly needing to find strategies and constantly sending spell work and just having no more control of your life while you're watching someone heal and walk out of everything that was meant to destroy their life and take over them. So, you know, it is what it is. I've always said, and I've maintained from the beginning, if you're in a cycle where you are trapped, if you're in a cycle that you're trying to get out of, you need to just go through your journey. You need to continue walking through one step at a time. When you go through tough situations, it is pointless to start thinking about, like, when will it end? It's pointless to be fighting useless battles with people. you know, I'll say I got a new bracelet and it's like they'll send magic at me. So it's like the bracelet falls off. Or grays. I only started getting grays when I got with my ex. Never had grays before in my life. There are periods of time and I get the grays sometimes only on one side, and there's periods of times where I don't get any grays at all. And it's so weird. Put it this way, it's so weird. My family notices, like, we talk about it. So, but these kind of things are so pointless, and they're so silly, and they're so temporary. If you're meant to give someone a major blow, and here's the thing, if these are things that are meant to annoy or irritate me, I'm not a person who derives my happiness or my fulfillment or my validation from my physical appearance anyway. But if it's meant for someone to not love me, if you're talking about real love and you're not talking about vapid acceptance, and you're not talking about thinking about what other people think about the person that you're with, when you love somebody, that stuff doesn't matter. Like, people don't think about stuff like that, you know. I don't know what it's meant to do. I think it's just doing something to do something, to say that you've done something, so something stuck. Maybe it's just an ego thing. I don't get it. But whatever they're doing, it's so silly, because it's like, maybe this might hit me and then somebody might look like, you know, 20 years older than they are. Who knows, right? But anyway, I say all of that to say, please walk through your journey. I can very much relate to how people are probably emotionally navigating this situation. I know that it feels like a situation that is never going to end. That's the first thing that you're going to worry about, and it is not true. It is not true. Walk through your journey, learn your lessons, be hyper aware of what's happening. Listen to your gut. If your mind says something, it says something for a reason. Your intuition is the voice of God, and it's not a voice that people can duplicate. I've heard about the voice to skull. Pray about that. If that's something that you experience, pray about that and ask God to stop that immediately. It's a very abusive practice. People are taking it too far with the things that they're doing. They're really trying to replicate the hand of God in other people's lives, and they're paying for it now. I wanted to talk about the role of affirmations in your day-to-day. I've been talking about saging your environment, smoke cleansing. You can just Google how every single religion utilizes smoke in cleansing their space. This is not just a super spiritual thing. This is a religious thing. A lot of cultures do it. It's very normal, okay? But then there's sage. I've been talking about crystals, and now I want to talk about positive affirmations. I want to talk about the material that you consume and how important it is. First of all, music is how God communicates with us, because music conveys emotions in ways that, in a way more enhanced way than me just speaking now. I have to find words. I have to use a story. I have to paint a picture for someone to really evoke emotions in you. But music, just the sound of music, even music with no words, music puts you in a state of being. It puts you in an emotional state. And from that emotional state, you start manipulating the energy around you. So you're right now in a situation where people are forcing you to consume anxiety, stress, worry, panic, worrying about how you're going to take care of yourself and all that sort of thing. I, for many years, have listened to affirmations, and I've played affirmations overnight as I go to sleep. Positive affirmations can be anything from somebody reciting, for 7 or 8 hours while you sleep, a video playing that basically says, I am healthy, I am wise, I am in control, I can do anything that I want to, you might have to listen to that for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, every night, subconsciously indoctrinating that into yourself as you sleep. But this is a tool that you should not leave out. Sometimes a ritual is something as simple as listening to a very calming mantra, listening to the sound of drums. That might invoke in you listening to classical music, to study, to concentrate. Whatever it is that you listen to, consuming the proper information is important. And of course, conversely, people use music in another way where it's like some people listen to overly sexualized music that is constantly complaining, very sad love songs, all of these things. So use music to your advantage. Use what you're listening to your advantage to program your mind and help you get back into a state of positivity, because right now you're in a state of hopelessness and you need to calm yourself. And I promise you, a couple of minutes of listening to very calming music, or just like I'm playing this music in the background, it changes the whole tone of the video. It changes the whole tone of how you receive the information. And I listen to a lot of different kinds of content. And even with tarot, there's periods of times where I'm like, I'm not listening to tarot right now because I don't need it. Or particular readers are providing maybe information that might be valuable for me to know, but I don't want to listen to it at any particular time because I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to be upset. I monitor what I listen to first thing in the morning, and I monitor what I listen to before bed. When you pray before bed, and I mean really pray, it changes the way you sleep and it changes the mood in which you wake up in. So you really have to always make sure that you're going to bed, and before going to bed, you're really talking to God and you're really getting that reassurance and you're really feeling good about yourself. It's very important. One of the things that I want to say is, when a burden or a challenge is put in front of you in life, it's only put there because you can get through it. So as long as you stay with it, triumph is guaranteed. As long as you keep moving, every single failure, roadblock is working in your favor. It is experience. It is, for example, I was in the malls. That is still experience that I can take with me. There are still behaviors that I can correlate to there's still experiences, that I can correlate to anything that I want to go into. One of the things having come out of this situation that I think to myself about all the time is, I was really downplaying myself. I really did not know myself. I didn't know exactly who I was. I didn't know. And I'm not even talking about just how strong I was to get through this, but right now I'm like, I am following every single dream and every single passion that I have on my heart, because I know I'm built for it, because I know I can handle it. And it was put in my mind and in me for a reason. And everything, I think, just works in tandem. It works together. And you don't know what's happening and you're worried about the little things, and God is really preparing you for something major. So I wanted to say that. Stay calm. Triumph is guaranteed. Your future is much brighter than you think. You don't just get these battles and then you settle in and it's like, no, you get the battle, you get time to heal, all the lessons kind of soak in, you get your time to rebuild as you're using the skills that you've developed to rebuild, and then you shoot up. That is how it works. Every time I've had one of these obstacles in my life, it has been the precursor to major success. So relax and give it time, and you got to walk through. You're not giving up. You're not going back to anything that hurt you, destroy you, relationships where people have betrayed you. Giving yourself time and walking through one step at a time, even every inch counts. Everything that's for you is protected. That is one of the harder lessons that I had to learn, because I really was always fighting for, oh my God, they're going to take this. And it's like, sometimes it's like I had to release things, but I also learned that no one can take anything from me that God has decided that is for me. Everything that is mine is either going to be returned or I'm going to be blessed with more. And it's no different for me than it is for you. In this situation, you're definitely, you know, you're of service to God. Whether you believe in God right now, whether you believe in that concept or not, or whether you have the full story or not, it'll come to you. It'll come to you slowly but surely. You'll get it. You'll figure it out. You're in this situation because you are of service to God in some way. All the material that I continue to consume during this process, it's all stuff that somebody had to make. This stuff, Yolanda Adams had to sing this song. Like, you know, and I'm being super selfish about the fact that I love the song, but it speaks to me, and I'm sure it speaks to other people in the same way, you know, where they give their life to God and they say, like, I am of service to you. This is what I'm here for. This is my purpose. And it's so true. Like, there was a point in time where I could do whatever I wanted to, and I did lose, you know, not everything, but I lost a lot. And it's like, God still showed me a lot of grace. God never sat there and was nitpicking, saying, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and, you know, you could have done that better and that was wrong. It was just like grace and protection and love and compassion was all there for me. And, you know, I can be nothing but grateful. And that's exactly how I feel. Is this situation has put me in a state of constant readiness for whatever the next thing is going to be. So whatever is asked of me, whatever I have to go through, I constantly feel ready. I constantly feel like, whether I understand or not what God wants from me or why God wants it from me, it doesn't matter. I just feel constantly ready to take on whatever it is that's coming for me. I'm going to put a link to affirmations that can be played on either your phone or your laptop at night, that you can listen to. These are some that I've historically listened to. I'm probably going to put 2 links in the description box of this video. For people who are just getting into spirituality, I want to walk you in. There's a lot of things that I don't talk about because I don't know where people are in their spiritual journey. And there are things that I don't think I need to talk about, because if you're that advanced anyway, then you don't need to hear these things from me. You know, you either know how to do your research or you're on your journey with your own guides or whatever the case is. I really want to speak to people who are really just starting on their spiritual journey. I'm going to give information. One of the links I'm going to give is to a woman called Abraham Hicks, who I love, who on the onset of my really deep spiritual journey, I wanted to go to one of her seminars, find her, and literally just go up to the podium with no question and just say, thank you so much. I've met my Abraham. So she talks about how to connect to your higher self. And she made it all the way to Oprah. And Oprah got freaked out by the information that she was giving, because she was talking about a very real, conscious spirit that you connect with. And a lot of the things that I learned, I didn't realize I was in Abraham Hicks University. And a lot of the stuff that I learned was stuff that people are going to think is fluff. People cross-watching this video are going to go listen to Abraham Hicks and not going to be able to deal with it, because you got to be in the right place and time for that stuff. It's not exciting. It's not spell work. It's not tips and tricks. It talks about meditating, being happy, being relaxed, being calm. It's like listening to yoga videos. So it's really, you can't go into it expecting anything other than, how do I calm myself? How do I calm my mind? How do I find myself in a place where, and that's the thing, if you're a very realistic person, this is not going to work for you, because Abraham's going to be like, you just have to be happy and things are going to work. And you're like, what? I need to go work. But it's for us. It's the truth. You know, things that work for one set of people do not work for another set of people. And I realized that. In the beginning, when I was talking about, like, I was being pushed to talk about sage and crystals, I'm like, oh, but you know, people who've done wrong things, then they're going to heal and they should get their karma. But you know what? This stuff here is inviting to angelic forces. And if you find your protection from dark forces, this is going to be uncomfortable to you. This is going to be, they're not going to allow that. Talking about sitting in a salt bath, you're not going to be able to tolerate salt if you have dark energy on you. And I really, truly mean that. And especially at the temperature that you're supposed to be taking that bath at, no. That energy is, between the salt and the temperature of the water, it's a burning. It's even for me, it's uncomfortable. So it doesn't matter. I realize it doesn't matter what information I put out there. It's already out there. They already knew that I was listening to these videos anyway. But I'm going to link her. I'm going to spell her name. And I want you guys to listen to it. What is most important right now is your vibration. It's the vibration that you're vibing at. You want to be vibing at a vibration where you attract things to you and not where you're chasing it. When you're in a chaser energy, you're repelling. It's like repellent. When you're in a calm energy, things want to just gravitate towards you and settle down beside you. And right now, you're in an energy where you're consuming too much toxic energy, too much anxiety, too much negativity. It's being compounded on you all the time. So because you're in that energy, you cannot begin to manifest yourself out of the situation. You cannot begin to climb out. You cannot see the future. You cannot see how this is helping you. You cannot see how this is good for you. Of course you can't. I wasn't seeing it when I was in it either. But the truth is, it is. When you get on the other side, you're living a different life. You're living life in a different way. You're aware of different things. And believe me, it's worth it. It's worth it to stick with it. Just take my word for it. I know that it's not what anybody wants to think. I sure as hell didn't think it when I was going through it. When I was going through it, I literally said to God, I was like, look it, if I find... Guys, can you keep whatever you're playing down, please? I said to myself, if I find that I come out of this situation and I can actually say, thank God I went through it, I'm gonna apologize. And I have been apologizing the entire time. And every time I see another lesson, I'm like, oh my goodness, what I have come out of is nothing small. What God has taken me out of is nothing small. It's nothing short of miraculous, because it's been me by myself. And anybody who's gotten to witness it, the only thing that they can say is 100% that God is real. There is no debating that God is real. They say that I'm possessed by some demon, some demonic energy or whatever. And, you know, who cares, right? But yeah, you know, stick with your situation, but find positivity. Healing your mind right now is the most important thing that you need to do. It is important because you're on what I call a seesaw spell. And if you're emotionally down, then that means the people hunting you down are up. So you need to get yourself up there. And it starts with your emotions. Your emotions are number one. They're the first thing that needs to change. And when your emotions change and your environment is clean and your body is regularly cleaned, when all of these things happen to you, then you can begin to manifest yourself out of the situation. Everything else follows suit. But this needs to happen first. I'm going to read my cards. My Spirit Messages Oracle cards. I haven't read them in every video since. Never allow yourself to be taken for granted. It is better to remove yourself from the situation than to be treated less than you deserve. You are precious and you are worthy. So family, friends, whoever's betraying you now, I said this in one video. As far as family goes, anybody who treats you less than you deserve needs to be discarded from your experience immediately. And that is the end of that. There is no compromise. There's no, oh, but it's my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. Like, there's no compromising on that. The purpose of family is to be there and to help you. And if that's social groups, if that's friend groups, if that's people that you work with, you are precious. So you need to take yourself out of any situation where you're not being treated well. Be true to yourself in all ways. Not everyone will get you. They can only understand from their level of perception, and that's on them. No matter what people say, don't ever doubt your worth or the beauty you hold within. Stand tall in your power. I've had to be, at first when I was going to do these videos, I was going to be very like logical about the entire thing, but it's like, I don't care anymore. No one came to save me. No one was there for me. I can be who I am unapologetically. I can do whatever I want. I do not need acceptance or approval by anyone for any reason at all. I can stand on my own. I've just gone through the worst trial in the world, and God was the only one beside me. So all decisions are filtered through God, and that's really who I care about. And everything and everyone else, don't care. Don't care, you know, and that's that on that. That being the case, I'm gonna leave my video here. I'm gonna remember to put the 2 links in the description box. I've gone through a very horrible situation. Intuitively, I feel like there are people who feel like my advice is fluff, but you must understand that if you do not take care of your mind, you will lose it. And right now, your mind is under attack. If you don't go through steps to take care of yourself, you're gonna feel yourself losing it. And you're going to be more susceptible to attacks and easier to attack. So it is essential that you take care of your mind, you take care of your body, and you take care of your spirit. Please heal your mind. The meditations are not optional. They are mandatory. If I don't meditate, God wakes me up to meditate in the middle of the night. She might let me fall asleep because she sees that I'm tired, but I have to meditate. I have to meditate. Meditation is not optional. Prayer is not optional. Prayer is not just something you do just like out of routine. Prayer is a connection, nurturing a relationship, and you need God more than ever. The prayer part, I probably don't have to convince people as much because you know that you need God right now. The crystals are not optional. They're not optional. They're tools of healing. Using, let's say, something like sage to clear your space and not using crystals to help your body or deflect energy or to build you up in different ways, it's like going to war and having just a sword but having no shield or no helmet. There's no point to that. Doesn't matter what you can do with your sword, you need to shield yourself as well. So the crystals are not optional. I'm just talking about 2 crystals for now, sage and selenite, or sorry, obsidian and selenite. I will be talking about more crystals as time goes on. I'll be talking about more things as well. But these 2 things, you really, 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 you have no choice in the matter and you have to do it. And this is your sign to go Google and go get it done. Always have a lot of salt on your person. And one more thing I wanted to mention, I don't know who needs this information. If you're constantly smelling weird smells in your environment, randomly smelling sewage, smelling urine, smelling vomit, smelling, it could be even cats, kitty litter, food, perfumes, sprays, cleaning products, bleach, whatever it is that you're smelling randomly in your space, that means somebody has astral projected into your space and you need to salt your space. Please line your doorways and all your windows. Any port of entry, please line it with a thick layer of salt. Use what you have on hand now. However, coarse salt is better. Use whatever you have. If people are doing this to you often, you probably need to change the salt every couple of days, every week or so. Clean it nice. Don't let it harden and get too thick. If people keep crossing the salt, and it'll start looking wet and it'll change, and that's when you know that you need to take care of it. Line your space with salt, okay? I beg of you. It'll dramatically reduce the kind of attacks that come towards you. I use incense in my car. I burn incense in my car in order to get this negative energy as well out of my car. It's not just something that only I can smell. I have guests in the car and they can smell it too. My kids can smell it. We all know what it is. We'll have random, like, you know, Indians have a particular odor and we'll randomly smell that in our house. And it's like we immediately sage it out. We get it out. We pray it out. We do all of that. But prayer is not enough. You need to physically take care of things as well. Both work together. That's why it's called co-creation and not just creation. Co-creation. Please Google Abraham Hicks. I'm going to put links to everything that I talked about. So Yolanda Adams, I'm going to put a link to that song. I actually put a link to the song already in the community section on my YouTube page, so you can check that out. But also please do check out her Abraham Hicks, and affirmations. You don't want to play affirmations that are 1 or 2 hours long. You need to look for videos that are at least 7 or 8 hours long that will take you through your entire sleep cycle, and you wake up in that. You need to condition yourself consistently, persistently, and without fail. You need to continue to condition your mind for positivity, for calm, until you get yourself to a point where you're feeling more and more healed every day, better and better every day. As you feel better, your situation changes. As you feel better, your situation gets better. They're trying to keep you down and keep you not positive so that they can get away with what they're doing. All of the things that I'm giving, they may be spiritual in nature, but they are mandatory in getting you out of this situation, because you can see for yourself that the situation is not just physical. There is a spiritual component of it. So you can consider, if you watch my videos, you can consider my videos sort of like a little class in how to start spiritually taking care of yourself. So I'm going to end it here for today. Like, subscribe, drop a comment, connect, and, you know, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.